So let me begin with my induction into the Indian Military Academy. I came from Delhi University. I was a complete, as we call in the army, Colgate, because I came from college, whereas the other friends of ours would come from NDA or from Scenic School and other military backgrounds. And I remember, so in the Indian Military Academy, you have 3 terms: third, second, and first. And the third termers are the kings, the second termers are known as the princes, and the first termers are way below even human beings. They are like animals. So that's the way they are treated. Something like college also. It happens in colleges also. Not that bad though. And in the first class, the first day when we had our class, I remember an instructor came and he addressed all the first termers and he said, I hope you're all settled in and you're all okay. And then he asked this question, any problem? Anyone has any problem? And मैं नया नया आया था दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी से. I was a little bit of a union leader there, so I raised my hand and said, yes, there is a problem. So immediately I found some of my other classmates who were from Scenic School or who had a military background trying to put me down. But then I was in that fervor of a leader, and I said, yes, there is a little bit of a problem. He said, yes. So what is the problem? Tell me. Yes. So I told him, in the morning when we wake up and we go to get our tea and biscuits, by the time we reach there, we find that the third termers and second termers, they have taken everything. And though they are supposed to take only 2 biscuits, they take 5, 6, and we are left with nothing. So he says, oh, really? Is that what's happening? Okay, we'll fix this. We'll fix it immediately. And I'm feeling very happy with myself that I brought a very genuine problem and addressed it to the, army brats here will understand where this is going. But so anyway, in the evening, this instructor of ours, he comes in his bullet and he comes to our platoon. And as soon as an instructor comes to a platoon, it becomes a major issue because an instructor coming to the platoon during off working hours is like something big has happened. And this instructor comes and first calls all the third termers out. And now there's a lot of palpable tension. Everyone is worried ki kya hone wala hai and all of that. And I'm feeling a little bit proud about myself. They sort out kara diya maine third termers ko. I'm in that zone. So this instructor comes out, he lines up all of these third termers and he makes life hell for them. I don't want to get into graphic details, but making them front roll, back roll, push-ups, this, that. He gives them such a ragda that many of them are bleeding from their elbows and all that for about 2.5 hours. And then he lines up and he says, this is the way you're training your first termers? They are whining about bloody biscuit and tea and this is what you're training them? Now I realize there's something big. So obviously the third termers don't talk to first termers. They don't do that. That's not done in the academy. So the third termers call the second termers out. And then they roger the second termers for about 2 to 3 hours. By this time it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And after they're done with the second termers then tell all the first termers, okay, go. Go to your rooms and bring a bucket of water. So we go to our rooms, we bring a bucket of water. Then one of the second termers goes, he picks out his flask from the morning. There is some tea left in it. He pours it into all the buckets. And then he makes us drink all the buckets and do front rolling, back rolling, push-ups, till about 5:30 in the morning when we have to go straight for PT from there. So we just managed to take a shower, run for PT. And that day in the class, second day in the academy in the class, the same instructor comes. And he asks me, any problems? I said, nothing, sir. Everything is okay. The first lesson that the army teaches you is don't sweat the small stuff. Life is much, much, much bigger. There'll be much bigger challenges that you will meet in life. And if you start sweating the small stuff, you didn't get your biscuits, you didn't get your parking, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, or you didn't get what you felt was due to you, a certain amount of your energy on that day is taken away for completely inconsequential and useless things. The second lesson that the forces teach you, that it is always all for one. One person may have made the mistake, but the entire course has to pay the price for that. Either the entire team wins or the entire team loses. There is no individual gladiator. There's no space for individual gladiators in a really good team. So after that, I joined the unit. I was commissioned into a new raising, as it's called in the army. That's a unit that has been raised recently. And this was a unit called the 22nd Mechanized Infantry, one of the most elite units of the Indian Army. And I was in the academy 313th in merit. Out of a course of 400, that takes a lot of hard work to come 313th in merit. Now, my CO, who was expecting me to join the unit, he had written a letter to the commandant. he had said that I have got a new raising unit. And in new raising, you have to bond the troops together. You have to bond the officers together who come from different units. And for that, very often sports is used as the tool to do that. So he had written a letter to the commandant that please send me an officer who is very good in sports, even very low in merit. And the commandant satisfied one of his conditions. He sent an officer who was very low in merit. He forgot about the other one. So by the time I land into the unit, there is this, wildfire rumor going around here. Naya Saab jo hai, sports mein jadoo kar deta hai. He is very good in sports. All these rumors are going around. Damn good in football. All these things. And when I'm landing, I'm getting there's something wrong because everyone is asking me, sir, kya sport khelte ho? Kya khelte ho? I say, मैं तो कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं खेलता हूँ sport. So immediately the rumor goes around. Not only is the new guy really good in sports, he's also very modest. Because after all, the commanding officer has written to the commandant of the Indian Military Academy, and how can the commandant of the Military Academy not honor a letter which has come from the CO? The first event of the brigade competition is cross country. And cross country is my Waterloo. I can't run to save my life. But Delhi University se कहते bus के पीछे नहीं भागते थे, कहाँ भागेंगे, right? We will not. So of course, in the Indian Military Academy, they had trained me, and I was pretty good in running by the Indian Military Academy standard. But if the IMA standard is here, then combat unit standard is somewhere here. So the first event which is happening is cross country, and I'm trying to run my career best and do the best I can. But still, I'm trailing somewhere far behind. It's not really that good. And finally, on the final day of the competition, two bigger blows of misfortune happened together. Firstly, we had been expecting the cross country, and it normally happens early in the morning. Cross country, by the way, is running for 16 kilometers. It's not taking a basket of food and hiking through mountains. It's not that. It's serious running. So that 6 o'clock morning run was shifted to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And this was the peak of summer in Punjab, in Sangrur, where summer can be pretty hot. And the second was that the remaining two units of the brigade, the officers leading them, they were both my course mates. And in the academy, they used to come in the first 10 runners. So that's the competition I'm going to face. And like I told you, in cross country, I would barely manage to finish it in the possible time. One of my course mates is sitting here, he'll endorse it. So the cross country starts and we start running. And of course, like I said, I try to give it my career best run. But I think I was second last. There was one person who had the decency to come after me. But otherwise, by the time I wandered in, the run is over. People are drinking tea, this, that. Then they suddenly notice one guy coming, running. He can't do this. And that's me, yours truly. So after that, of course, I'm completely ostracized in the unit. People stop talking to me. The Jawans stop talking to me. Officers are giving me, and of course, some people are fingering me also. Badi hell, bada commandant ne bheja tha, somebody yodha had come and look, can't even run this, that. And I was completely dejected, walking around the unit. Nobody is talking to me, really sad. Kahan phas gaya main? And then I heard sound of firing happening from the short firing range. There was firing happening there. So I wandered over to the firing range. I was a very good shot. Even in the academy, I was an extremely good shot, especially with the pistol. So I went to the firing range. It was my own unit firing there. Some practice was going on. So I casually said, Saab, maybe ek bar. Just, yes, you try. There was a RC commissioned officer, a lieutenant who was there. And he said, Saab, aap bhi try karo. And I tried. And when I fired the first magazine, suddenly everyone stopped and they started looking. And this JCO said, Saab ko ek aur magazine do. Put another magazine, another. Second magazine, third magazine. And this team, by the way, was preparing for the annual Rifle Association, Army Rifle Association annual firing event. So it was the ace team, the A team of the battalion which was preparing, and I had outshot them all with just a pistol. And that was a big thing. So this JCO immediately rang up the CO and told the CO, कि साहब ये जो नए साहब आए हैं, firing करते हैं. CO tells him, मैं आके देखूंगा. I'll come and see, because I won't read these stories anymore. And the CO came, and I shot in front of him. He told me to fire again and again. And that's the day he said, good, you are not a guy who needs to run, because you can shoot the enemy, you don't ever need to run. And that was the second lesson that the army teaches you. That many times you will fail in something in life. And that failure in something in life is designed to bring out what is your real strength. So each time you face, and you are students, and if you face, you didn't get the percentage you wanted, didn't get the college you wanted to go to, didn't get the choice of subject you wanted to study, remember that life often chooses the subject you are supposed to be good at. You don't choose occupations. Many times, occupations choose you. When I was little settled into the unit and earned my respect back, there were lessons that would come to us literally every day. We were posted in Punjab those days, and in Punjab in 1987, 88, things were not very good. Some of you might recollect from your parents or people who might have told you. And those days, the orders for any troop movement used to be that whenever a jeep or a jonga is moving, the driver is driving the jeep, and the officer sits on the left-hand side seat, the co-driver's seat, and the officer is always supposed to carry an AK-47 on his lap, or an assault rifle or a carbine in his lap. And we used to be in Sangrur, so we had to keep going to Patiala back, Ambala back, and these journeys were fairly uncomfortable, long distances in those jeeps, and this AK-47 is a very cumbersome weapon to keep in your lap all the while. So I remember one day when we were going from Sangrur to Patiala, I took the AK-47 and I told my JCO in the back, कि साहब इसको पीछे रख लो, keep it behind. And the JCO didn't move. He didn't take the weapon from my hand. He told me, साहब, order है कि ये आपने अपने पास रखना है. The orders are for you to keep the weapon with you all the time. So I asked him, I said, साहब इसकी ज़रूरत कब पड़ती है? We hardly use it. We never use it. And then the JCO taught me a life lesson that I want to share with you. I've always carried that lesson with me in my life. He said, साहब अगर इस्तेमाल ना करना पड़े तो 2 हफ्ते, 3 हफ्ते, 1 महीने, 2 महीने, 6 महीने. If you don't need to use it, you may not need to use it for a few weeks, a few months, maybe for 6 months. But the day you need to use it, at that point the weapon has to be with you. At that point you can't say, give me the weapon, I need it now. And that is an extremely important lesson in life. Many times I have a lot of juniors who come into office, they put on their tie just when they're entering. As soon as they go out, they take out their tie, they put it inside, they come in unshaven, they come in unprepared. The day life sends an opportunity to you, you can't be shaving then. The day an important person watches you in an airport, if you're not wearing your tie, he knows that you actually fake it only when you come to him. That is why in life, one of the fundamental lessons the army teaches you is when you wake and get out of your office or get out of your home, from that moment onwards, you are expecting combat. One of the first signs that is written as you move out from your units, the logo over there very clearly says, Aaj Mukabla Hoga. Even if every day has been a peaceful day, today can be that one day when you will have to get into combat. And at that point of time, you can't say, Saab, mere ko hatiyar do. It will not work. The last story I want to share with you is about an instructor who was my... So we have Havaldar instructors, we have officer instructors, we also have Havaldar instructors. And this is the story of an instructor. His name is Nair, Havaldar Nair. Of course, now he must be an honorary captain or honorary lieutenant, inshallah. And he was our instructor in missiles, armament and missiles. And I was part of a division of the army, which basically is called mechanized infantry. We have light tanks called BMPs, and we fire missiles from that. And becoming a missile gunner is a great achievement. So becoming a missile pilot takes a lot of hard work. You have to do a lot of simulator firing. You do thousands of hours of, thousands of launches in the simulator, and only then, after you have cleared a certain level, you are allowed to fire a live missile, because a live missile is extremely expensive. It's very, very expensive. So anyway, 6 months course, we have worked very hard and we are all ready. And there was a very close friend of mine who was doing the course with me, and he was extremely good. He was very good in his simulator. He was very good in pretty much every aspect of the gunnery course. And for the final day, he was heading to be the top grade, one of the top grade, and it was expected that he'll be amongst the top 2 or 3 officers passing out. And we go to these firing ranges in Ahmednagar, KK ranges as they are known. These tanks are lined up, the missiles are loaded on it, and the controlling officer, he's put everyone on their respective tanks, and then he says, okay, report when ready, Alpha 1 ready, Alpha 2 ready, Alpha 3 ready, Alpha, all the radio telephony happens, everything is ready, and then the first tank fires, the missile goes, hits. The second tank fires, the missile goes, hits. Third one fires, and the missile, obviously, these officers have been training for months together, and they're the cream of the cream. And my friend is in the last BMP, and when he is told to fire, he presses the trigger, and the missile misfires. Now, it's equipment, sometimes failures happen. In this particular case, you can say the average of a missile misfiring is maybe 1 in 10,000, but that happened to my friend. That 1 in 10,000 happened to my friend. Now in the army, we depend only on the outcome. So you can't say, sir, actually the fault was nothing doing. If the missile has not hit the target, you will not get the missile pilot badge. As simple as that. So this officer was very, very dejected. And as we all went to the control with our missile cases in our hand, the instructor gave the briefing points to the first gunner, the second, the third. And when he came to my friend, he saw he was so disappointed and so sad that he said, the commandant said that I'm going to give you a missile from my pool. And he gave one missile. So the commandant has got a pool of missiles, and from that one missile, from that pool, he was given one more missile to fire. And now my friend is the only person left to fire. New tank is brought, new launcher is kept over there just in case there's a malfunctioning of the launcher. The new missile is placed on the launcher. Everyone in the audience, we also invite civilian guests to come and see this. So the entire grandstand, we are all waiting, and he says, okay, Alpha 1, report when ready. Says, Alpha 1 ready to fire, sir. Report, fire at your own will. And everything is ready, the cupola is locked, target is locked, missile is put on sight, and he presses the trigger, and the second missile misfires. Now one missile misfiring for one officer could be a chance 1 in 10,000. 2 missiles misfiring for the same officer is a chance in millions. But on that day in KK ranges, that happens. And when this officer is completely dejected, he knows he is not going to pass out of that course with a missile pilot. Not his fault, not at all his fault. That's the time Ustad Nair puts his hand on the shoulder of this officer and gives him a lesson that I want to share with you, and I hope you will carry with you through your life. He tells him, Saab, हर एक की किस्मत में, हर एक की जिंदगी में कुछ मिसफायर मिसाइल लिखे हुए हैं. ये लिखा हुआ है कि कुछ आपके मिसाइल मिसफायर होंगे. आपके दोनों मिसफायर ट्रेनिंग में खत्म हो गए, जंग के मैदान में नहीं. It's such an important lesson. Each time you are defeated, you fail to achieve an objective, you're not able to get what you want. Remember, a little bit of bad luck, a little bit of bad bread is there in everybody's life. If that bad luck goes away in college, it goes away when the stakes are low, it goes away when nothing earth-shattering is going to happen, then it's good that you have used up your bad luck. And I want to end this whole series of stories with this last one about Havaldar Nair again. Some years later, of course, I graduated from there, and some years later, there was a massive competition happening in our division. And this competition was of field firing, all sorts of firing. Eventually, however, what happened was that 2 battalions, the 22nd Mechanized Infantry Regiment and the 1st Mechanized Infantry Regiment, these were the 2 who were in the pole position neck to neck. They were just neck to neck in pretty much every score. Finished to decide which one of these 2 would be the eventual winners, it was decided that we will do a sudden death. One tank will come from each battalion, and they will both face off each other. They will fire towards the target. Whichever tank wins, that battalion wins. Whichever BMP, technically, whichever BMP wins, that. So I was selected from my battalion to go and represent. And so this tank is coming, 22nd Mech, fluttering flag, coming, rumbling in. And from the other side, there is another BMP coming in, which is from 1st Mech. And both of us come and park ourselves in the rampart, get ready. And of course, we're going to fire our machine guns, we are going to fire our main guns, but the killer, which will actually tilt the score, is going to be the missile, because the missile is the one that is given the highest score. So both the BMPs are lined up, they are both ready, and at that point of time, I look towards my left and I notice that there is a crew over there. Obviously, the tank has a crew. So I decide that I'm just going to run across and wish this competitor of mine the best of luck. So I take off my headgear, I take off my radio, I get out of my tank, and I start jogging to the other tank. And when that crew sees me coming, they realize that I'm coming to say something to them. So he also opens the cupola, and the person emerges from the gunner's seat. And who do I see there? Havaldar Nair. So he is the instructor who taught me, against whom I'm going to be competing right now in the next 30 seconds. And this is Paltan ki izzat ka sawal. My Paltan's izzat, his Paltan's izzat. Both of us are fighting for our battalion's honors. So I looked at Havaldar Nair and I told him, we used to call him Ustad always. I said, Ustad, best of luck. So he said, same to you, sir. Then I said, aaj to Ustad aur Shagird ki takkar hogi. Today is a battle between the Ustad, the instructor, student. And then Havaldar Nair said something to me which has a lot of gravitas. He said, Saab, lekin jeet to meri hi hogi. I am the one who is going to win anyway. And I said, how do you say that? How do you have so much of confidence? He said, Saab, aisa hai ki agar main jeeta, to main jeeta. Agar aap jeete, to Ustad jeeta. If you win, if I win, then I win. And if you win, the instructor wins. And that day, Ustad Nair did win. The last lesson I want you to leave is the fact that leaders are supposed to produce leaders better than them. That is the job of leaders. So at every occasion, every time in your life, whenever you achieve something, remember that you have achieved that on the shoulders of leaders, well-wishers, parents, friends who have stood and allowed you to stand on their shoulders and reach the heights. And that is a responsibility that each one of us owes to our subordinates, our peers, and our juniors. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.